All right, welcome to the art of objective selection. Now, in this module, this is a very important module. This is where we dive into the Facebook advertising objectives because to a lot of people, this is really something that they can't really wrap their mind around. Well, the reason why we do this in a very in-depth way is I really want you to understand the usage of each and every one of the Facebook advertising objectives because that is the key to really unlock their potential. So pay attention as usual when we actually do these classes and all that. I want you to actually write it down, use your paper and pen as you're learning. And basically, I want you to start thinking. When we go through all the so-called the lessons that we have in this module, I want you to start thinking about which are the objectives that is relevant to you. And you want to start thinking about the combinations of the objectives that you can use towards the end of it. So we will go from very basic, try to understand the basic of the objective usage, and we will go very in-depth into the combination of objectives that we can look into. But then again, all the examples that I'll be giving to you are based on the experience that we have. It is really up to you on how you want to reimagine this thing and do different things. Remember, whatever I'm showing you here is really based on based on the case studies that we have. Now, what I actually want to highlight here before we dive into the course is, whatever that is working for you, keep them and expand from there. Some people actually come to me and say that, Jason, you keep telling me don't use the boost objective. But then again, I've been boosting posts. It's getting me good result. Well, I didn't say that. I would just say that if it's working for you, keep it working. Because the whole idea here is that I don't want you to stop entirely whatever that is working right now and embark on a new journey that we have. All you need to do is just probably reduce some of the budget. Maybe like, let's say if you spend 100 a day on whatever that is working, let's bring 30% or 40% over and start whatever new experiments that you want to do. And from there, we will identify new possibilities that we expand from there. Remember, being a Facebook advertiser, you got to be very experimental. The whole idea here is you need to always think outside the box. One reason, very simple, because the behavior shift among your audience is so fast that you need to try at least to be a one step ahead of them in order to lead the movement of your audience, in order to lead them and actually eventually convert them into your customers. Okay, so I hope that's a very good basic fundamental understanding that we need, and let's dive into the whole thing. Now, I'll be actually switching between the slide and the ads manager whenever we need it, and then I'm gonna really really want to dive deep into the art of objective selection because it's really important. But then again, a lot of people may have not gone into this page before, so I just want to quickly bring you into this is where we start choosing the Facebook ads objective. Now, when you want to create a campaign in your ads manager, this is the right thing that you should be seeing. Now, if you're still seeing something in a different version, maybe you are in, boosting a post on the page itself, or you're using the simpler version of the ads manager in the so-called the business suite, all I want you to do is you want to start looking for this. Now, how do we actually come in here? First, okay, the easiest way to come in here is you come to your Facebook. This is your Facebook profile, right? On the left-hand side, when you click See More, you will have an option to go into ads. Now click on this, it will bring you to your ads manager. If you have been running ads on Facebook, you definitely have an ads manager. You just have to go in there. Alternatively, you can actually come in from your business manager. Now business manager this is an ads manager. Now if you have a business manager, you click on this, there will be something called the business settings. Now when you open up your business settings, then you'll be able to see now, but I don't want to actually confuse you. I just want to bring you dive deep into this thing. Okay, so when we come in here, this is where we start. All right. Now, what's going to happen here is when you want to create a new campaign, you have to understand, I mean, there will be another module talking about the structure, but nonetheless, for every Facebook ads campaign, you will have 3 layers of this whole structure. So first, we start with the campaigns layer and the ad set layer and the ads layer. Now, when you want to create a new campaign, you start from the campaign layer. And basically, when you click the create button, like I did just now, it will bring you to a screen like this. Now, this is where you start choosing the objectives. This is where you start looking into what are the things that you can do. Now, let's come back to this thing. Basically, I want to really help you understand the basic fundamentals of the objectives. And I want you to wrap your mind around every single one of them. I will give you advice, which one you should be using, which one you shouldn't. But get your paper and pen ready. Now, basically, when it comes to Facebook ads objective, they are broken down into 2 categories. The first category is what we call the awareness category. Okay, awareness category are fundamentally those This is basically awareness-based objective, the awareness category. Now, the awareness-based objective are something that are really not helping you to get any specific actions, meaning that they are not actually designed to help you get clicks, to help you get conversion or something like that. The whole purpose of awareness-based objective is to help you distribute your message. But that's very important to certain businesses. Why? Because if your business requires familiarity before people start buying from you, okay, then you have to consider doing this, because this is a very useful advertisement that the whole structure is really to help you distribute your message to as many people as possible, right? But it is not specifically targeting for any specific actions. Hence, we would actually go very broad. So if you run awareness-based objective, you have to bear in mind one thing. Okay, you might get quite a number of the wrong audiences coming into your funnel, because when you go awareness based, Facebook will go straight. Let's say if you have 2 million, it's unbiased distribution. It's going to go out to every single one that is qualified based on your audience targeting. So you don't actually judge. So when you run this campaign, one thing I want you to bear in mind is, let's say if you run this awareness based objective and you run this campaign, you should not look at the number of clicks that you are getting. You should not look at the number of so-called conversions that you're getting, because that's irrelevant. It is not optimized for that. So if you want to get clicks, then you use traffic, which is all these action-based objective. But remember, when you go for awareness, it is to everyone. So it's unbiased. As long as it falls under the category that you're selecting, they will see. So the fundamental awareness-based objective is to help you create awareness. But then again, like I mentioned just now, right? If your business is not really something that requires people to recognize you before they buy, then I would strongly recommend that you go direct to the action that might generate you the better impact to your business. Like for example, if you're running an e-commerce business, all right, you shouldn't run awareness-based objective. Why? Because awareness is irrelevant. Your main awareness is really you want to get people to click over to your store and start browsing. That's awareness to you, because you don't need to build a brand first in order to run your business. All right. Now, this is very useful for those businesses that needs to build a brand first to run a business. Like, for example, it's really Pepsi against Coca-Cola. All right. It's really about, if you're in Malaysia, my part of town is we have Jaya Grocer and the Village Grocer. So both are the same thing. But then again, which one should I choose? How did I, make up my mind? In fact, awareness objective, especially the brand awareness objective, might be helpful for this kind of category of businesses. So you have to bear in mind, if you want to get action, go towards the action that matters to you. That's why I want to quickly jump right into the action-based objective over here. Now, action-based objective is contrary of the awareness-based objective. This one is really to come in and help you get specific actions. Specific actions as in like what matters to your business most. So usually if you're a business that requires instant result, which most of us are, if you are running ads on Facebook, we are expecting something to come in right away. I will measure by the number of conversions that I'm getting, the number of clicks that I'm getting, the number of leads I'm getting right away on the, if not by minutes, it should be by hour, because Facebook ads should work that way. So if our business really can generate this kind of instant result, we should go for the action-based objective. But the key question that we should ask here is, which action matters to you now? Remember, which action matters to you now? That's why I want to introduce you to a key concept that within my universe, I always use this key concept, which is I call the action funnel. Now, literally, the action funnel is the blow-up version of how a customer, so-called a prospect, travel through the journey, to become your customer. So as you can see here, we start from the reach objective over here, right? So first thing first, definitely when you run ads, you will be reaching people, correct? So when you reach people, when these people see your ad, some of them would actually click on the link, which is the call to action. Now, when they click on your advertisement, they will go to some of them will land on your landing page. Now, some people ask me, what's the difference between these two? Now, the difference is not everyone who clicked your advertisement will end up visiting your website. That's a hardcore fact that you have to accept, simply because there are many reasons for a person to drop off. Later, I will show you in great detail on how Facebook advertisement or Instagram advertisement really works in terms of the whole journey. But then again, not everybody would actually land. As over here, not everybody you reach will click. That's why the action funnel is a very important key concept that you have to understand. So let's say based on the number of reach to link click, we actually usually look at about 1 to 3%. So let's say if you reach 1,000 people, you get 10 clicks. All right. Now out of 10 clicks, maybe only about 5 of them were landed on your website. And out of which maybe 3 of them will add to cart, 1 of them will initiate checkout, and eventually none of them would actually purchase. That's why the whole idea here of the action funnel is the deeper the action, the lesser people will take it. So you have to optimize for the right action that matters to your business. So for your case, let's say if you're running a Shopee store, for example, instead of an e-commerce store, if you're running a Shopee store and you don't have your CPaaS access, so what should you do? You should actually optimize for the link clicks, because landing page view is not relevant to you. Because the moment you don't have CPaaS and you're selling on Shopee, okay, we won't be able to calculate how many people actually landed on the so-called the destination page. I think that's really something that you have to wrap your mind around. That's why selecting the action that matters to you is a very important thing. Now, later I would actually go through an explanation to share with you how do Facebook categorize the objectives. Okay, now let's come back to the objective that you're saying, but here's the thing, okay? As this is the latest objective layout as we are saying, but as we are making this video, there are already rumors, or even some people are seeing the latest version of the Facebook Ads Manager with the new arrangement of, the objectives arrangement. Now we have 11 objectives over here. According to all the leaked images and all that, they say there should be about 6 objectives left. But then again, here's what I want to tell you up front over here. There is not much changes. They are rearranging. So the moment you go into, let's say, for example, later on, we will have sales in the new objective layout. Now, when it comes to sales, right, then of course, it is actually either conversion or catalog or store traffic. They're just combining things together. But when you go deeper into it, you are still able to make sound decisions. But fundamentally, I think you need to understand this part, although we are entering the new era of the new objective lineup. Why? Because this is the best version of Facebook Ads objective that's up to now. And it gives you a lot of opportunities to go through the key learning. Okay, now basically, awareness-based objective consists of these 2, the brand awareness and the reach. But then again, later on, we were going to dive deeper into each objective, and I'm going to give you some ideas about some case studies, about some recommendations about what are the things that you should or shouldn't do. But then again, awareness-based objective are really these 2. So you have to understand these are the 2 objectives that when you go out and run ads, it is not targeted for any specific actions. So it's not going to help you get clicks. It's not going to help you get traffic. It's not going to help you get lead. It's really helping you to distribute your message. Now, when it comes to the other side of it, this is what we call the action-based objective. Now, these are the objectives that are going to help you get specific actions. But then again, we need to understand which actions matters to you. So one thing at a time, I want to really start understanding the action-based objective in a more holistic way. Now, as you can see here just now, when it comes to action-based objective, there are traffic, there are engagement, there are conversion, there are lead gen, messages, and whatnot. There are so many of them, okay? But how do Facebook define whether, when I do traffic, what's the difference between conversion and traffic? What's the difference between traffic and engagement? Why do they want to actually break this up like this and, kind of like confuse the end user, especially the Facebook advertisers like us? Now, I want to give you a very, very important so-called explanation about the whole thing. That's why I want to blow this up. So the action-based objective are really based on the action likely taken. That's why when we use Facebook ads, we are being broken down into different action categories. Now, how many years you have been using Facebook? I've been using Facebook since 2009 or 2008. So I'm celebrating maybe the 13th year of using Facebook now. So that means what? That means Facebook knows you better than your mom. And Facebook knows you better than yourself. Like, for example, you have no clue what you did 2 years ago today, but Facebook knows. So that's the key about Facebook advertising. They have been recording our activities, whether online or offline, in fact, on or off Facebook. You see, a lot of people will say that, oh, I'm not active on Facebook. This is not relevant. All the targeting and all this objective and all that is not relevant to me. But then again, you know, they say, I mean, this is not really about what you post on Facebook, you see. This is really about what you do on Facebook. Like, for example, if you go to Facebook, you don't post a thing for 2 years, doesn't matter. But as long as you go back to Facebook and consume information on Facebook, you are seeing advertisement and you're consuming advertisement, and the way you interact with the advertisements are being recorded. And not just Facebook. Okay, when you go to other websites, the way you interact with all these websites, out there are also being recorded by Facebook Pixel and the Conversion API. A lot of businesses, a lot of websites, I would say at least 70 to 60%, 60 to 80% of the websites are installed with Facebook Pixel, because it's a very powerful thing to do, because you want to do retargeting, meaning that you want to retarget people who have visited your website and added to cart but did not purchase. How do you actually trace them? You need Pixel, you need Conversion API. And all these, while actually helping you to do your retargeting, it's also sending all the signals back to Facebook, which is allowing Facebook to really record how we surf the net, not just Facebook. They're also on Instagram. They're also on WhatsApp. They're also on other websites that is really installed with Facebook Pixel. That's why the moment we look at the Facebook advertising based on the action-based objective, especially the action categories, it is very, very highly accurate. We're not talking about the detailed targeting or the interest, which is another module we will cover that. But then again, when it comes to Facebook ads, let's say, for example, if you have a 10,000 audience that we're looking at over here, 1,000 audience. Now, 1,000, even you narrow down to 1,000 people within your target audience, they're still being broken up into different categories. Because based on your historical data, out of these 1,000 people, there are about 550 people are really into liking and commenting and sharing a post. Okay, and then the other 350 are very much into clicking the links quietly and go over to see what's being presented on the landing page. And there will be another 400 people who's into downloading games and playing games and stuff like that. So the moment we understand how Facebook breaks us into different categories, of course, there could be overlapping. There are very little people who like to click out, those who share. Sorry. So you have to be really clear about what you are trying to get. So that's why a lot of people, when they actually boost a post, they are not seeing good result. Why? Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you shared an advertisement? Now, we don't share advertisements anymore because we know the impact. If we do that, we're gonna help the brand to promote, because our friends is gonna see that, oh, Jason liked this post, Jason commented on this post, right? But we don't want to do that. That's why we don't even comment or like anymore. If you look at it, right, moving forward, we needless to talk about share. But who are the people who do that? Maybe our parents who are new to Facebook, maybe, or anyone who is new to Facebook that do not know what are they supposed to do. So you might be getting some foreigners, you might be getting some, you would claim them as whatever, the alien profiles and all that, but all these are real. It's just that the moment you go for the wrong action, you go for the wrong audience. A lot of people thought that, when I go for the wrong, when I set my audience settings right, everything is going to follow. But no, in fact, it is being decided by the action that you're choosing, the objective that you're choosing. That's why I have this very important key concept for you, which is the action decides the audience. So hear me out. Believe me later. The whole idea here is you have to start with the objective. If you don't, everything falls apart. That's why I want you to dive deep into the objectives that, later on we're going to dive deep into the whole thing. And we really want to find out which one is the right one for us to choose and which one is the right for our business, because it's all about choosing the best action in the action funnel. Remember, we come back to the action funnel over here, right? So we have, we will be reaching people first, and then there will be some of them who actually click on the links, and some of them will land, some of them will add to cart, some of them will initiate checkout, some of them will purchase. Now, here's the thing. Later, when we go into the conversion, a lot of people would thought that, I jump a little bit, but I don't think you mind. Like, for example, if you run an e-commerce website, naturally, you would think that, when I do conversion, it has to be purchase, right? But the problem here is when you choose purchase and you do not have a lot of purchase on your website, Facebook would not have enough data. Because you see, when it comes to link clicks, let's take a look at the action funnel and try to understand. When it comes to link clicks, this is the more generic action, agree? Right? This is the more generic action. So Facebook would definitely know who are the people who are likely to click on the link. So landing page view is also generic, but it's already specifically on your website. So theoretically, if your website is not so popular, your landing page view would not be very great number. So out of the landing page view, if you talk about all the way until it become a purchase, it may not be a very significant number. So when you don't have enough data feeding back to Facebook, let's say if you go for purchase, and in the past 1 month, you only have about, let's say 10 customers who really come to your website and buy, then it may not work really well because Facebook do not have enough data to find other people who are likely to do the same thing. So the key concept here is when you choose an objective, Facebook are looking for people who are likely to do the action. Remember, come back to the circle that we talk about. When you boost a post, Facebook will zoom in to people who are likely to like, comment, and share. When you want to get link clicks, Facebook would know and zoom into people who are likely to click. So naturally, those people who are likely to take the action will get more advertisement treatment. They will see more of your ads at a greater frequency because Facebook believe that they are likely to take the action that you want. So you got to be really careful, especially when it comes to conversion, because there is certain threshold. According to Facebook blueprint, you need to have at least 25 event conversion. And let's say, for example, if you're choosing purchase, you need to have at least 25 purchase. I don't know how you'd actually pronounce that. Anyway, so it's like you need to have at least 25 sales in the last 1 week on your website. Now, if you don't have 25 sales on your website in the last 1 week, move a level up to look at whether you have, at least 25 people who initiated checkout. If you still don't have it, then we have to go to add to cart, and level up and then level up. You need to choose the right event. That's why when it comes to purchase, later we were going to talk about it. It's about the event or so-called the action that has enough data for Facebook to find other people who are likely to take action. So that's the whole idea about the action funnel. Okay, now basically, let's come back to the objective over here. As we know that, at this point of time, we have these few objectives. But like I mentioned just now, if it's actually changed, all you need to do is now in fact, when you change to the lesser, newer version with only 6, you probably would find it a bit confusing, but all you need to do is just navigate further. They should have categorizing everything in a different way. It's just recategorization, regrouping of the objective. They are not throwing things away. I don't think they are likely unless the store traffic, they may not get a very good traction out of it. But let's go through one by one. Okay, now when it comes to each and every one of the objectives over here, I'm going to give you some brief suggestion about what it does, what is that for, and I will tell you how you should use it or how you should not use it. So that's how we actually roll in this, the art of objective selection. So the key concept of this module is to really help you gain the clarity on which objective matters to you, which one you should be choosing. Okay, now the first objective we have here is the brand awareness. Like I mentioned just now, brand awareness objective is being measured by the brand recall lift. Now let me go into the ads over here. So when you run an ad, right, basically, the results, as you can see here, we have how many website leads, how many link clicks, and post engagement. Now, if you run brand awareness, okay, you'll be seeing if you run brand awareness, you'll be seeing the brand awareness, so-called the brand recall lift will be the result that is being measured. The brand recall lift, meaning that, the brand recall lift theoretically and technically means how many % of the audience remember seeing your ad 3 days after seeing it. I know it's technical, but then again, that's how they measure. So basically, it is being measured by how many % of these people remember you, not while seeing your ad, but after seeing your ad. So that's a very key concept that you have to wrap your mind around. So basically, it is, like I mentioned just now, it is for those businesses that wants to create brand awareness to sell. So the key question here is whether do you need to create awareness to sell? Like I mentioned, for e-commerce, don't. You should bring them right away to your website and start taking action. So you should go for action-based. Now, if you are actually, let's say, you in lead generation business, whether you are a real estate, insurance agent, or even if you are, like even if you are a barber, if you're a plumber, that you want people to immediately take action and come over, you should go for the right one. You should go for the action that matters to you. Now, instead of using brand awareness, you go for the better action that is going to help you get the result in a better way. So that should be the right way of going into it. All right. So that's brand awareness. Okay, it's being measured by the brand recall lift. It's aimed to increase the likelihood of people remembering your brand, and basically, it's really for big brands. Like I say, it's really for big brands. So if your business really is something requires instant result and faster action, then we go for the right one, which is we're going to discuss as we move along. Now, reach objective is a very unique objective. I can see you probably are reading this down. It's actually reach objective is measured by the number of people you reach. So fundamentally, as the name suggests, it's helping you to reach the maximum number of people among the audience that you're targeting, if you're going for broad. But at the same time, it is also very powerful for you to generate maximum impression when you are doing retargeting. So let me give you the case, for example. Now, let's go into the reach objective right away. Now, for certain case, we can go in. Now, let's say we choose the reach objective and we come in. There is one very unique feature that is only available for a reach objective. I'm going to show you as we move in. We all know that Facebook Ads Manager is a slow creature. I have no idea why they can't really improve the speed and the loading time. But then again, that's what we are seeing. Every time I do training, this is the biggest challenge that I face. It's really damn slow, like nobody's business. But nonetheless, no complaint. Now, I'm not going to touch on the campaign level. Let's go into the ad set level. The unique feature for reach objective is really in the ad set level. Now, let's come in here. Yeah, so all the way down to the, we're not going to touch the audience. We're not going to touch the, here. Right, it's here. Now, when you can actually click show more options. Now, under the optimization and delivery, okay, if you go for reach objective, then you have this frequency cap, which is unique, only available on the reach objective. Now, when you click edit, okay, basically it allows you to set the maximum frequency. So let's say for this case that this is one impression every 7 days. That means among your audience, they will not see your ad more than one time every 7 days. So let's say this is very useful, especially when you're trying to target a broad audience, say, let's say 5 million. Like somebody asked me, Jason, how much does it cost for me to reach the whole Malaysia, like 28 million of Facebook users? To me, it's very simple. I just need to go and calculate the CPM, cost per 1,000 impression. So when I know that, let's say I need to spend about maybe like $3, let's say $5 to reach 1,000 people 1,000 times, for example. So $3 to reach people 1,000 times. Let me fire up my, let's say, let's quickly fire up my calculator over here. So let's say let's say $5 to reach 1,000 people 1,000 times. So I would only need to do like 28 million. 28 million divided by 1,000. Okay, so it's about 28,000 blocks times $5. That's about 140,000. So all I need to do is I set aside 140,000, let's say within a month. So I just want to reach all these people at least once, right? So I can do, let's say if I do it a month, all I need to do is I just gonna do like 30 days. So every 30 days, the audience is gonna see my ad maximum once. We will not exceed the frequency. So when I set this as a monthly campaign and I spend 140,000 on this campaign, I can reach as many people as possible. Of course, it's not guaranteed that I'll be able to reach 28 million Facebook users in a month, but that is the way that I can do my best to push the message to as many people as possible within my target audience. So that's one way of using it. Now, the other way of using it is what we call the retargeting. So how do we do that? Let's say, for example, if I'm really running a retargeting campaign, which is probably the tier 2 campaign that we are specifically targeting people who have added to cart in the last maybe 7 days. So for those who have added to cart in the last 7 days, what I'm going to do is I'm actually able to do something like this. Can I do that? So let's say maybe not 7 days. I can even go like 10 impressions maximum one day. So when I'm actually going for a very niche and small audience, let's say maybe just about 500 people, and I want to make sure that within a short period of time, I want these people to see my ads like nobody's business. I want to blow up my impression. I want to make them feel that, wow, this brand is crazy. I see this brand everywhere. I mean, that's what I want. If that's what I want, then okay, that's what I do. I can actually go for this maximum. So it's really how you play with the frequency cap. But then again, you have to also bear in mind, reach objective is also awareness-based objective. It is not helping you to get specific action. So you got to be really clear about that. Okay. So the way you measure your campaign matters. You got to really know how to measure your campaign in the right way. So that's how you should actually understand. But reach is a very unique objective if you know it right. Let's say, let me give you this case. Okay. Now, reach objective, what can you do? Let's say if you have been driving, let's say, registration to your webinar. Okay, for the past 1 week, you've been driving all these webinar and all this, really going in. Now, 2 days before the webinar, what you can do is you can actually create a reach objective, a reach campaign, retargeting back those people who have registered. Now, how do you do that? You can actually either import the whole webinar registration list into a custom audience to populate and run ads, or you can actually do the thank you page retargeting. So both way, or you can actually use both, right? Anyway, so those who have actually registered for a webinar, 2 days prior to the webinar, you want to run a reminder ad. You see? So you can set the duration on these 2 days at, the campaign lifetime is only for these 2 days, driving up to the webinar. And, you spend sizable amount of money, you set the frequency to as high as possible, maybe like, 20 times a day, if that is really something that you want to pump. But when you want to do this kind of like extreme retargeting with high frequency, you make sure you don't run it for too long. I'll say 2 to 3 days is viable. Anything longer than that, then you will create fatigue. When you create fatigue, then you will hurt your brand. That's a very important key concept to understand. Okay? Now, so that's reach objective. All right? So you want to use this to reach as many people, like you want to send a message to the entire population in your country, as in like the Facebook user population in your country, especially as long as you have the budget, you can afford that, go for it. Okay? So it's either you go for broad or you go for niche. So in both way, it's a very powerful objective if you know how to use it right. Okay? Now, when it comes to traffic is a very commonly used objective. Okay? It is actually to drive your audience to a destination beyond Facebook. If you are trying to drive the traffic back to a Facebook, let's say Facebook page, Facebook group and all this, it will not go through. I actually tested it the other day, trying to drive people to my Facebook group. It doesn't go through. So here's the thing, it's really to drive people beyond Facebook. So there are 2 different ways now. Let's go into that. Now, when it comes to the objective of a traffic, for example, then you will see different thing. Now, let's say we switch it back to, let's switch it back to traffic. Okay, now let's switch it back to traffic, and same thing, a lot of details when you're switching different objective, right? A lot of details are actually in the ad set level. In fact, the objective is only to decide, the campaign level is only to decide the objective. Now, a lot of details are inside the, so-called the ad set level. Now, when you select traffic, now you'll be presented all these options available. So whether you want to drive people to your website, to your mobile app, to your messenger, to your WhatsApp and phone call. Now, hear me out, believe me later. When you are going for traffic, it is only powerful for website or maybe driving people to outside. So a lot of people ask me, oh, if I want to drive people to messenger, can I use this? No. There is another objective called the messages objective, which we're going to cover towards the later part. That is the one if you want to drive people to talk to you on the messenger level or the WhatsApp level. You got to be really clear about this thing, because if you want to drive people to website, technically it's best if you are driving people to a web destination beyond Facebook. Now, let me give you some example. Let's say if you want to drive people to your Shopee store, if you don't have CPass, you want to drive people to your Shopee store, use this website. This is traffic objective. You should use this. And if you want to drive people to your, let's say if you want to get people to click and open to a Google form, okay, this is the right one. And you want to get people to click and start a conversation. We all know that this WhatsApp API link, right? You can actually generate the api.whatsapp.com/whatever, which you can even insert your message in it, and you don't need to ask me. Go into your Google, go to Google and how to do that. It's called a WhatsApp API link. Now, when you want to drive people to destination like that, you use website. Even if you want to drive people back to your own website, you use this. But the difference here is this. Now, when you go for website, now when you go all the way, then you have this optimization difference. Now, when under the optimization, if you care enough to click on it, the default one is link click. But then again, we have other options like landing page view. Now, if you want to go for other options like over here, daily unique reach and impressions, that one you don't need to touch. Don't. I would say don't. Okay, when you're at a higher level, then only you go and figure out how to play with it. But this at this point of time, none of your consent. Because the moment you choose the action-based objective, you want to go for action. But here's the key thing that we need to decide. Should we go for link click or should we go for landing page view? Like I mentioned to you just now, there is a difference. So link click means people clicking on the advertisement site. Landing page view means people really landed on the destination, which is your website or somewhere else. Now, when do we use link click? We use link click when we are driving people to a destination that we cannot track. Like for example, if you're driving people to a Google form, you use link click because technically Google form doesn't have a thank you page that you can track. So you won't be able to know whether these people really, or there is no way that you can install pixel on your Google form. So that's link click because as long as you're driving people to a destination that you can't track, that you have no pixel installed, you go for link click. Like if you want to drive people to your Shopee store and you don't have CPass, link click. If you want to drive people to your WhatsApp conversation using the API link click. Don't go for landing page view because you can't track. Technically, there's none. Because the moment they go over to your Shopee store, for example, you lost them. That's the key. That's why link click is for those destinations that you have no control whatsoever. Now, if you're driving people to your website, because you have your website, it's your own website, and you can install Facebook pixel in it, in that case, go for landing page view. Go for it. That's the right thing to do. That's why you got to really understand which one is the best objective for you. And even when you choose objective, now you understand that inside there are certain things that you can set. Now I'm giving you, at the ads manager level on certain things that you want to pay attention to. But of course, we have another module that's kind of covered the entire ads manager walkthrough, which I'm going to go walk you through around the whole thing together. But at this point of time, you want to understand which one to look into. Okay, so that's for the traffic objective. It's a very powerful objective if you're driving people to destinations on the web or even the app and all these kind of things. But use traffic is very powerful. Okay, so now the other one is engagement. Now, engagement objective consists of three things. Let me go into that. Now, when we go for engagement objective, okay, as usual, we're going to switch this thing. Sorry, it's not the auction. No, don't touch this thing. I'm not going to. So let's say we go for engagement. Now, if you go for engagement, okay, immediately you have three options over here. Now, this one is at the campaign level. That's very interesting, isn't it? Now, under the engagement, there are three engagement types. The first engagement type is called the post engagement. Now, when you go for post engagement, that's the same thing as your boost post. Okay, now the difference between boosting a post on your Facebook page by clicking on the post and click the boost button versus the boost post using the ads manager is you have a lot more different configuration settings available in the ads manager. Okay, I want you to go and explore the ads manager. It's a very powerful one. And of course, if you need help, go to the module that we talk about the whole structure thing. And you want to understand how to use this thing right now. Post engagement is really to boost your post, to get people to like your post, share your post, and comment on your post. And this one is to really get people to like your page and all these kind of things. So you got to choose very carefully. Now, some people ask me, Jason, should I grow my page? I would say yes. But my question here is, do you want to grow your page as in get people to like your page? Among people who have no clue about your business, or you want to get people who already know your business to like your page? I think the answer is very common. Of course, we want to be the latter because the key difference will be this. If you're getting new people to like your page, they are stranger to your business. So even though they like your page, they may not know you. So you will still need to spend some resources and whatnot to educate them about your business. You get what I mean? But my way of growing page like is I will only grow my page like among those people who have been, introduced to my business. Like for my case, I will only retarget those who have visited my website or watch my video to like my page. If I ever run a page like campaign, I will only target those people who have indicated interest, whether they like they watch my video in one way or another, or they visited my website. That is a very clear sign that you are interested. So when you are interested, you have seen something of me, then only I introduce, they say that, hey, like my page for certain more information. That become a more relevant. And in fact, when you do that, you're able to get higher quality fan base on your Facebook page. So the key concept here is this. You don't need to have a huge Facebook page, as in like with a lot of page likes to grow your business. Like if you look at my Facebook page, I don't even run ads to grow my page like, but when I run other advertisement, there will be people who see the ad and come over to look at my page and they realize, oh, I like this guy, they're just gonna like. But don't pay too much attention on the number, I would say, because it would not hurt your ads performance. No, I don't think so. It's nothing. So that's for page like. And event responses is when if you want to promote a Facebook event. Let's say if you want to have a webinar, okay? So if you want to have a webinar on maybe on the coming weekend, so when you want to do that webinar like this, you can actually create a Facebook event and you can promote it. So when you create a Facebook event and you promote it, your people who see the ad will be able to just indicate they are interested in your ad, in your event, or they click that they are going to your event. But of course, I will not encourage to just do this, getting people to whatever with the event and all that. You want to get deeper. You want to get people to really sign up on your website or really opt into something. I mean, really, you want to get meaningful conversation or so-called interaction from them instead of just clicking, I'm going. I'm interested, because we all know that it's just an indicator. I mean, very little people will really remember and show up. So you want to do your follow-up sequence and all this kind of thing. Now, here's the thing about engagement. You see, whether it's post engagement, page like, event responses, my recommendation is let's use these to retarget. Because like a lot of people will say that, boost post is no longer useful, it's bullshit now. When I do all the targeting, I get nonsense people liking my post. I'm not getting the clicks that I want, because now boost post is to get engagement. And you want engagement from who? You don't want somebody who don't know your business to like your post. It's meaningless. But if those people who have already liked your page watch your video on Facebook, it's very meaningful to get them to do this. Now you see what I'm actually coming from. So your post engagement, you should actually run this to your fans. Because the moment you create a post and you want people to engage, you want who to engage? You want your audience to engage. You want those who have liked your page, those who have watched your video to engage, because when they do, they remember you more. Right? They understand you more. I think when they do that, it's a lot more meaningful journey for you to build the kind of familiarity among this audience. And one day, maybe they will become your customer. So that's how it works, right? Even the event responses, like for example, for my case, I used to, for a period of time, I run a lot of weekly live training, free training and all that. And I only boost, when I use event responses under the engagement objective, I will only run it to people who have recently engaged with my page or recently visited my website, because these are the people that I want to bring them in. So the key concept to use the engagement objective right is to really bring the relevant people to do the right action. So when you do that, you will not see nonsense people liking your post, because these are real people who indicated interest in your business. They will come over and really like your post and stuff like that. So that is how you can effectively nurture your intended audiences with your content and stuff that you're doing. So that's a very powerful objective if you ask me. That's why a lot of people say, boost post is no longer useful and all that is useless. But let me ask you this thing. Do you think Facebook is stupid, or we should call Meta right now? Anyway, so they are not stupid. If it's that useless, they would have gotten rid of it long time ago. But the reason why they're keeping it here is it's useful, but you don't know how to use it right, my friend. So that's you yourself to blame. But now you know. Okay? So I hope you'll be able to see this in a different way. And I want you to do this in a different way. All right. So now the next one we want to talk about is app installs. Now, how many of you runs an app? Now, app install is actually very straightforward. It's very similar to conversion. Now, you see, when you have an app, it's very similar to when you have a website. Now, when you have a website, you got to install the Facebook Pixel and the conversion API, correct? Now, when you have a mobile app, you want to install the Facebook Mobile SDK. So when you install mobile SDK, you can track the activities. Now, if you have an e-commerce app, then you will be able to group those people who have added to cart and those people who have purchased, those people who have initiated checkout. So these are all the actions that you can group, very similar to a website. So if you have a mobile app, if you want to drive people to install your app, regardless it's a gaming app, e-commerce app, if you ask me, Facebook and Instagram combined, they're the best place to promote a mobile app. It's a very powerful place, but you don't want to start without having an SDK installed. So you got to be very careful because the targeting options and all that, we all know how powerful is that. It's very powerful for you to drive people, and they have the largest network in the world. So app install is very powerful, but I don't think a lot of you are actually running an app. So basically, you just have to make sure you have SDK installed, and you'll be able to do this, inclusion and exclusion. And you can even create custom audiences based on people who have taken certain actions on your mobile app and stuff like that. It's the same. Okay, so that's app installs. All right. Now I want to go to video views. Now later on, I'm going to introduce you to my two-step funnel framework. Now it's I'm famous for the framework that I created since 2016, and it's been used by thousands of Facebook sellers around the world. It's a very powerful one, but one thing that I use is my tier one. I'm very into using video as my ad placement, as in like creative. Of course, I'm not talking about a long winding video and all that, but one thing I use is video because I use video as an audience qualifier, which I'm going to discuss later on. But then again, a lot of people misunderstand that. Oh, Jason, do you mean that I need to use the video view objective on the first tier? The answer is no. Now you have to understand video view. As you can read here, is measured by true plays. Now, true plays means they have watched at least 15 seconds. So what Facebook is going to zoom in here is to find people who watch a lot of video on YouTube. You get what I mean? Now, let me give you this very simple example. I target Facebook advertisers like you. When I run ads, I need to make sure that I show it to you, or at least you're interested in Facebook advertising. Now, who are the people who does that? Mostly business owners. Now, if you are business owners, can you really spend time watching a lot of videos on YouTube? You get what I mean? So you have to understand whether this is relevant to you. But then again, if you look at it like, oh, well, then why do I use video on the traffic? Now, you use video on the traffic doesn't mean that you want to get people to view your video. What you really want is to get people to click on your advertisement and go over. Is that right? So the video is just the medium. It's just the creative that we are using to run the ad. Doesn't mean that we want people to watch the video. It's a very important key concept that you have to wrap your mind around. So I rarely use video views unless, let me give you some case that you can use it. Right? Unless you have a new product and that video is so important that people need to watch the video to know how to use that product. So in that case, video view makes sense. You want to get people to watch the video first, then okay, now I know you watch at least 50%, fine. Then I will retarget you with another advertisement to tell you about a price and stuff like that. If I know you watch 50%, that makes sense. Perfect. That yes. Okay, so don't use video because you're using video as a creative. Video view is really for you to get people to watch the video if watching the video is important. Like I mentioned just now, launching a new product, that the video explains how to use it. Okay, launching a new program, that the video explains what is that all about. So those are the scenarios that you can use video view. But on top of that, avoid that. It's not really something that is, very useful. Like I mentioned, go for the action that matters. If it's traffic or it's conversion, go. Use that and use video as a creative. It's not contradicting at all. It's fine. Nobody say that you must use video views if you use video as an advertisement creative. No, okay? So that's how you use video views. Now, lead generation, I don't need to say much. Lead generation basically is the most powerful, lead generation on Facebook is one of the most powerful lead gen way in the world. Why? Because if you talk about LinkedIn lead gen is very expensive. If you talk about website lead gen, if you're using Google advertisement, it's another cost structure. But then again, Facebook has one very unique feature, which is what we call the built-in form. A lot of you have actually experienced this kind of advertisement. When you see an ad, it's about, oh, getting sign up. When you click, oh, the form appears immediately, right? And immediately you have all the information like your name, your phone number, your email address are all in, filled in ready. All you need to do is just click, I agree. Then they will get your information and they will start calling you and doing all the follow-up and all this kind of thing. So this is very useful for businesses that requires, collecting information first and do active outreach to do the conversion. Because like property, financial services, all these businesses, you can't do transaction online. People don't buy. You need to build the kind of rapport and trust first before you can actually do that. So for this case, collecting information, generating leads is very powerful. But then again, here's the thing. A lot of people started complaining about, the effectiveness of lead gen. Why? Because, the cost went up, the quality of leads are dropping. Now, here's one thing I want to tell you. When you run lead gen on Facebook, okay, we're only targeting about 20% actionable leads. You get what I mean? 20%. So 100 leads you get through, usually 80% of them are not ready or not the right ones. It's only the 20% that matters. So if your benchmark is at least you have 20% actionable leads, you are actually okay. So 20% is the benchmark, all right? Now, when it comes to lead generation, another thing that I want to highlight here is, not everybody are happy with this kind of way. Because first thing first, the lead form, lead gen has been around for a long time. And a lot of people misuse it. Okay, so what's really happening among certain audiences is they start to grow frustrated about this lead gen method. And they say, again, come on, man. I've been seeing this. I've been getting caught by like donkey times. I don't want to do that anymore because they have had bad experience. But that doesn't mean they are not interested in your product. So here's the thing. I always like to tell people that when the lead gen is not working, this is not the only way to generate leads. You get what I mean? You can use what? Next objective, the messages objective, has a messages lead gen mechanism. If you have explored this thing, you go in and, when we build up the campaign, when it comes to the time on the lead gen case study, I'm going to dive into that and show you how. But the messages objective has a way that you can actually do something it's the same as lead gen, when you can ask for phone number and their phone number become a button to click and their email become a button to click, or they just need to click and you get them. So sometimes it's just how you want to experiment this thing. You see, lead gen is a very robust, it's a very flexible thing that you can use many ways to do that. You can use a landing page, or you can use lead gen, or you can use messages. So if your lead gen mechanism, if you're only solely relying on lead gen, is stopped working or it's not as good as the previous time anymore, my question to you here is, have you considered using different approach? Have you considered changing the process? You see, a lot of people, when they do ads, they always want the same thing to happen as usual, as before. But if it stop working, it stop working. It's not your fault. First thing first, I would say it's not your fault. Why? Because you have no control. Now, it's not Facebook's fault. Why? Because they have not changed much on that thing. It used to work well. It shouldn't just stop working. Now, what's really changing is the audience. The audience has changed. They have shifted their focus. They have shifted their interest. They grow, frustrated with this method and all that, and you're still using them. Of course, you're not getting the result. So the whole idea here is you want to get to do the right thing. Just keep experimenting. There must be some way that you can actually get result from whatever that you're doing right now. So that's what I want to urge you to do. So lead gen not working, fine. Let's go to messages. Now, messages used to be an objective to help you get people to start talking to you on Facebook, as in like on the messenger level. But as they introduce the messenger lead gen mechanism, it's really becoming a very different thing. It's a very powerful thing. It's a powerful alternative to do lead gen right now. And on top of that, messages can also do different kind of combination, which is you can actually connect to your messenger chatbot if you have one. That even can drop you to do a lot more things. You can even drip down messages within 24 hours and stuff like that. So it just depends on how you want to do this thing. But messages has got a very robust, powerful thing that you can do inside. So I urge you to go and explore. But of course, you can jump to the module where I discuss, the lead gen mechanism, which I'm going to use a cross objective combination. I'm going to use lead gen plus messages to do this thing. So that's how it works. All right, the messages part of it. Now, the next one, we're going to talk about the conversions. Now, you see, conversions, as I already illustrated to you, conversion to a lot of people like you and me, that means people who buy. Now, conversion is not just useful for e-commerce businesses. For my case, I want to show you, I'm also using a lot of conversions. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you over here. Like, I'm using conversion, but I'm using website leads as a conversion. Okay, like some I'm actually using website purchase as a conversion, some I'm using website lead as conversion, but conversion event can be defined. So let me quickly dive you into the conversion objective and show you how it works. So here's the thing. When you're choosing conversion, you can define which conversion you're aiming for. You get what I mean? So exactly what I mean by, whether you are getting the right conversion set up. So because to a lot of people, when they go for conversion, it's really purchase. But then again, like I mentioned, if you don't have enough event data and you still go for conversion, it's not going to work for you. So basically conversion, then we go to the ad set level. That's where we decide which conversion event that we are optimizing for. So here's the thing. You will go and choose a pixel. So I'll just do Academy. Okay, and then they will retrieve the conversion events available based on your pixel setup. So that's another topic that I have to, it's not covered in this program. But then again, if you need help, you can actually shout to me. I have some courses. Now lead, they will tell you that last received was when. Now, if you mouse over to FAA checkout, for example, last received, it says the last received was 4 days ago, and the has not been prioritized, and order received, case sensitive, and all this kind of thing. They will tell you that if it's really something that has not been happening for a while, so you want to reconsider now. So for this case, let's say like I can choose initial checkout, I can choose purchase, so these are the events that I can choose. So as long as you have the events available, then you can actually choose them. So not necessarily has to purchase. So if you don't have enough purchase in the last 7 days, then you can actually always go for initial checkout, or you can even go for add to cart. So whichever that works for you. Now, how do we find out? So some people ask me this question. So since we are at this, right? So all you need to do, hang on, what's going on? Okay. Right. Let's see. Did I just click? Okay, anyway. All right, so all you need to do is you go into your business settings. Okay. This is business manager. Anyway, what's going on? Okay, let's do this. Something is not right. Right. Susan has sent me this code. There is no code. Okay. Right. Okay. Me. Out of sudden, they locked me out for no reason. Okay, looks good. Just jump me out. That's very cool. So yeah, that's one thing that I want to highlight to you. If you have a business manager, which you must, okay, you want to make sure that you have this two-step authentication set up. All right, so okay, now you go all the way to your data sources and you go to Pixel. Okay, then you go and find the pixel that you want to look at. So let's say I'm just going to all the way down Tribe Academy. Okay, then you can open in Events Manager. Then you'll be able to see, like the events that is happening in the past 7 days, or you can actually set the date range, the time range that you want to track. Okay, let's see. All right, slow loading as usual. The Facebook Ads Manager is always slow loading. It's crazy. All right, so yeah,
So Facebook Academy's pixel. So last 28 days. What am I clicking? So yeah, you can see all the numbers over here. Okay, I have about 31 purchase in the last in the last 28 days. So let's say if I go back to the 7 days data, so from here you know that, oh, okay, purchase is no good. Okay, you know, complete add payment info is no good. So what is good? Add to cart. At least I have 70 add to cart in the last 7 days. So I can use that as my conversion event. So that's how you decide which one you want to choose. So that is how you choose the conversion event to optimize. Else you'll be like, come on, man, wow, you know, let's go for purchase. But when you don't have enough, like for this case, I only had about like 7 purchase in the last 3 days. I mean, in the last 7 days, it doesn't make sense for me to go for purchase if you are really optimizing for that. But then again, what I want you to experiment here is you can try purchase first. If it's not working, then only use, you know, change the event. Because in fact, my campaign is always going for purchase. But of course, I have different times. Sometimes I have good, sometimes I'm bad. But then again, one thing for sure is I have generated so many purchase in the past few months. In fact, in the recent months, also not too bad. So it's gonna be okay. So you just have to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Sometimes I say, whatever I teach you here is to give you the key concept. And you as a Facebook advertiser, I expect you to be a lot more, you know, creative and experimental. So that's the key, right? So let's come back to the ads manager. Now, right, see ads manager. But before that, let's dive into this thing. Now, basically, that's one thing. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is the catalog sales. Now, catalog sales is a very powerful objective. Oh, wait, before that, conversion, I think I talked about that also. It's not necessarily only for e-commerce. Like you can see, I'm actually using the complete lead registration as a conversion. You can actually use landing page view as a conversion, but I don't see the point. You can actually use the landing page view right away. But then again, it's not one thing that is only for e-commerce, okay? But this is really powerful for e-commerce. Catalog sales is really, you know, when you have a product, let's say catalog sales is a different thing that we want to look into. Now, let me go to the right one. So Tribe Academy. One. So yeah. So when you have a business, let's say when you have a catalog, so well, hang on, what's going on? So no, under events manager. You see, when you have a catalog, that means you have, let's say either you have a e-commerce website that you create catalog with it, or you have you know, CPaaS access, or even you have a Facebook shop. And in fact, if you're only selling on Facebook shop, you can have a catalog. So how do we go there? You click on this hamburger shit and go all the way down to the commerce manager. Now, commerce manager is where you manage your shops. Now, whether it's your catalogs. Now, technically, you can create catalogs for either your own website, your CPaaS, or you can actually go for a Facebook shop, just purely Facebook shop. So for this case, I'm just going to go in Jason Gunn, Tribe Academy, and I have a catalog that is built and linked with my Facebook and Instagram shop. So this is a very powerful feature that you know, I think yes, it's just launched in our part of the world not long ago. It's a very powerful thing. So when you have a catalog, that means you'll be able to see like how many people actually. So yeah, so all you need to do is just come in and take a look at the catalog items. There are several ways of integrating with your catalog. Either you want to use it to, you know, let's say if you sell on e-commerce like Shopify and all that, there's a very simple way for you to just integrate and pull all the data from your Facebook shop, from your website, and create a catalog over here. Now, the other way is you use CPaaS, which is you use everything that is given to you by Shopee and Lazada. Now, this one is actually, you can actually manually add item. You can actually manually add item. You can add one by one and all that. So when you have catalog, it's a very powerful thing that you can actually retarget people who visited, let's say, 6-day challenge, or maybe my, you know, Facebook ads for Shopee. So these are the old courses that I have been selling in the past 1 year plus, the Canva masterclass and stuff like that. So you can actually do this. And yeah, when you do catalog, it's a very powerful thing because you have a different way of, you know, retargeting in an entirely different way. So let me go in and quickly show you a quick one. So when you use catalog, theoretically, it is definitely useful for e-commerce. So you need to choose your catalog items or your catalog that you're using. And then, yeah, let's go in. Well, Facebook, you're going very slow again. So yeah, that happens to everyone. Right. Okay, now here we go. So when you go into catalog, then you can choose the catalog. So in the ad set level, you have a different way of doing the targeting. So that's the beauty of it. When you have catalog, first you need to choose the product that you want to promote. Usually you can create a product set out of it. Okay. Come on. Okay. Let it load while waiting for that. So you need to select a product set. So for this case, maybe I actually go for maybe e-com related, for example. I have several products grouped under this one. Wow. Okay, then when I go down, instead of the normal audience targeting settings that you see, you will see a different kind of audience targeting. So this one is just to give you a glimpse of it. But if you want to learn how to actually do this in an in-depth way, you actually have to join my another program. But you know, the two-step funnel will give you some fundamental ones to help you get started. When you're more ready, when you master the whole thing, when you're ready to level up, you can actually come in and take a look. Now, basically, you can either find customer, which is the first one, or you can actually retarget people who are interacted with the product on and off Facebook. Like for example, yeah, you can target people who have viewed or added to cart but not purchased up to like as many days as you want. 180 days, in fact, the maximum. You can target people who added to cart, or you can do cross-sell, upsell, or even do custom combinations. It's a very powerful thing, if you ask me. So catalog is powerful when you have your own e-commerce website. And if you are selling on, if you have CPAS access, that's entirely powerful, if you ask me. Okay, so that's catalog. So yeah, consider getting CPAS if you don't have it. Now, if you're selling on your own website, then you have to really look into your catalog sales. It's a very powerful thing. So yeah, I have even a crazy strategy, that advanced level of strategy that you can actually build, you know, like 5x journey to, you know, cross marketing different products to your audiences, to introduce them more and more into your realm, into your other products and all that. It's a very powerful thing. Okay, now the next one we have here is what we call the store visits. Now, store visits is actually technically is to drive physical store visits. Now, I immediately put it there. It's not very useful because you see, here's the thing. How often do you actually decide where to go based on Facebook advertisement that you see? No, we don't. We are discovery creature. We prefer to find things out ourselves. So store visit technically is an advertisement to drive so-called foot traffic to your store. But it's not really working in our part of the world. We tried this objective several times. Never get us good result. Not even satisfactory, to be frank. That's why I immediately put it up here and say that, you know, it's not really useful. So up to now, we have covered all the objectives. I want to give you some ideas. So if you are selling on e-commerce, definitely you want to go for either traffic. If you're only selling on Shopee and Lazada, go for traffic. And then, of course, conversion and the catalog sales that you want to consider. Now, the other one, if you're running a lead gen campaign, if you do lead gen, of course, you can do lead gen, or you can actually do messages, the lead gen mechanism. You can even do traffic. You can drive people to your landing page view. If you have a landing page or the event setup, you can even go for conversion. Or you can even drive people to direct link to your WhatsApp API. You know, I'm supposed to write API over here. Hang on. Yeah, API link. So that's something that you can do using the traffic objective. So basically, this is really something that I want you to understand, because when we run ads in our methodology, we run ads using our two-step funnel framework. Now, let me really walk you through about the two-step funnel framework in a more thorough way. So basically, when you have two-step funnel framework, wow, we have two ads running simultaneously. Now, the first ad usually, as you can see here, okay, we usually use a video. If you don't have the resources to build a robust video, we combine multiple images to create a slideshow. Now, usually one image, you just create 15 seconds is good enough, and this is the lead gen. So when people open up, you know, they will click and all that. So basically, this advertisement, we are using two things as the audience qualifier. Three, in fact. The first one is, if you watch the slideshow, which is a 15-second slideshow, up to 50%, I consider you as, you know, either you have seen the ad, you're interested. So, or if you open the form. So if you do open the form, then they're definitely interested, or you have seen the ad. So, or you submit a lead. There are people who right away they see, they love it and submit lead. So fine. So these are the few things. Now, once they do this, immediately I would exclude them from seeing the first ad, which is our tier 1 ad. It's a very important thing to do, to exclude people from seeing a tier 1 ad, because you want to avoid overreaching. You don't want to keep showing the same ad over and over again to the audience, especially if they have watched the video, especially if they have opened the lead form, especially if they have submitted lead. Why? Because they have taken the action. They won't take the same action again on the same ad. So if for those who have not submitted, let's say those who have watched the video and opened the form, then we use the second ad to retarget. Okay, we will retarget them with a carousel maybe, or even something with a longer video or longer copywriting, just to reinforce the key message to help them make the decision. So that's the right way, and that's the two-step funnel way in a nutshell. So basically, I want to really share with you how Facebook ads really work. You see, a lot of people, when they run ads on Facebook, they don't really understand how Facebook ads really work now. So what they think that, when we send this as an ad, and then when people see it, they will click, right? And when they click, they will buy. But here's the thing. That's not the case, because first thing first, a person needs to see your ads about 2 to 3 times in 7 days to realize. Not everybody will immediately look at your ad and say that, oh shit, I want this thing, I want to buy from them. No, because your ad coming into our newsfeed as intrusive content. So the first time I see it, I probably will ignore. The second time, maybe I will take a pause and take a look. If I'm interested, I will take action. If not, then, I will just pass. But then again, you want to actually do something that is important to you. All right. And you have to also remember that 95% will drop off, because when they see, just imagine when they see the advertisement and click on it and open up, they don't really buy all the way. They will be distracted when they click the ad. When they land, what's going to happen next? Maybe their boss call or the girlfriend call, and all this kind of thing. So when these things happen, okay, you lose them. You see, but here's the thing: they have already indicated interest. They are clicking over already, but they didn't take the action. So what are you doing to remind them about their intent? So that's the very key concept that we have to understand about a two-step funnel. So basically, that's the reason why we want to run two-step funnel, because we want to remind them. So fundamentally, the two-step funnel is really a campaign that runs 2 ads simultaneously. Most of the time within the same objective, but there could be scenario that we will cross objective, which I'm going to share with you later on. So the first ad is going to go out and capture intent, and that's going to already give you normal results. But then again, the second ad is going to come in and target for conversion. Now, when they are able to really, when you have a really powerful retargeting ads coming in, it's going to help you improve your ROI in a very powerful way. So the overall, when you have two-step funnel running optimized, you will see the overall conversion blow up. So let's discuss this in a very simple example. Okay, so let's say if you start with 300, if you run an ad with 300. So the scenario one is $300, you dump in one ad, you show maybe 100 times, okay? And maybe 1% click-through rate, you get 1,000 clicks, fair? So 1,000 clicks, maybe you say 5% conversion. Now that will be, let's say 50 purchases. So let's say each purchase will get you $50 in revenue, the order size. So that will get you 2,005 in revenue. Not too bad, right? You spend $300 in ads and you get 2,005 in revenue. That's a powerful conversion if you ask me. But then again, let me show you another thing. Scenario 2 is when you run ads using our two-step funnel framework. So our two-step funnel framework would break our audience into two, so-called the budget into 2 tiers. Tier 1, we spend 80%. Tier 2, we spend 20%. So let's say the first ad, we are only spending $240. Okay, tier 1, first ad. Now, $240, if we follow the same CPM and all that, we probably will get, 80,000 clicks, 80,000 views, 800 clicks, which is 20% lower than the scenario 1, because we're only spending 80% of the budget, all right? So out of which we get 5% conversion, we got 40 purchases. Now, we get 2,000 in revenue. Not too shabby, but then again, you'll be saying, no, it's not working, it's not powerful, you get lesser. But then again, remember, I still have $60 left, right?
right? Now, I want you to pay attention to some detailed thing. Remember, I have 800 people who landed, but I have 40 purchase. That means I still have 760 people I have not converted. Is that correct? So my $60 is going to go to them. You just imagine, I'm only targeting 760 people with this $60. So by spending $60 on these people, they will see my ad everywhere they go. You go Instagram, you see me. Every time you go Instagram, you see me. You go Facebook, you see me. Every time you go Instagram, you see me. You probably will see my ads maybe like 5 to 10 times a day. Now, when you are able to show your presence to the audience at that kind of frequency, what's going to happen? They remember you. And when we're able to do it strategically at the right duration, you make them take action. You just imagine, out of these 760 people, another 10% of them buy. Just 10% will do. It's not too much to ask. I got another 76 orders. Let's say same thing, I got $50 per order. That makes me another 3,800 more in revenue. So let's take a look at these two case studies again. Scenario 1, you get 2,005. Scenario 2, you get 2,000 plus 3,008. So you do the math. Both scenarios, we are spending $300 as an ad. And you're potentially making more than double than your normal revenue. If you know how to blow up the power of T2. That's exactly what I want to show you. All right. So basically, two-step funnel framework. Remember, we have two ads. One ad is to capture intent. The other one is to optimize conversion. And basically, when you're able to do that, you're able to get powerful ROI. And that's what we're going to cover in the two-step funnel case study module. So I'm going to show you case studies for Shopee store without Shopee or Lazada store without CPaaS, or if you have CPaaS, or you have your own e-commerce website, or when you have do lead gen. So we're gonna have several case studies coming in on that side. It's a very powerful one. All right. So then I want to quickly share with you something that I call a slightly more advanced, is what we call the cross-objective strategy. Now, cross-objective strategy is the way where we combine multiple objectives together to optimize the outcome. Okay, making full use of the power of individual objectives to actually do different things. So I'm just going to give you some case studies. What I want you to do is, I want you to start opening up your mind and think differently while you're using the objectives. All right. Now, first thing first, of course, if you're running your e-commerce website, if you have a relatively newer e-commerce website, you can actually use tier 1 traffic for tier 1. Because the idea here is, in order to start getting more people to buy on your website, you want to get more traffic in first. So we aim for lower hanging kind of audience coming in. We get traffic in first. So when traffic comes in, naturally, there will be conversion. But once they have come through your door, it's totally okay to immediately start tier 2 as conversion. Because when you're only retargeting for conversion, it doesn't really matter whether they are likely to take the action or not, because it's really zooming to 760 people that I mentioned to you just now. There are only 760 people who landed and didn't buy. So when you go for conversion, you go all the way to the purchase objective and bang them. That's how it works. Because everything else become irrelevant. It's really the audience that matters. So when we are doing, the conversion will only be important to choose the right event when you're using it for tier 1. Because when you go for tier 1, generally you're targeting a broad audience size. So you want to make sure that you bring the people who are more likely to take the action in. That's why the conversion event, it becomes important. But when you're using it for retargeting, it doesn't matter. Go all the way to the purchase conversion. That will also help you nurture, because when the conversion starts happening over there, okay, the campaign will get better and better over time. It's training the pixel. It's what that matters. Okay, so that's the first case study. Now, the other part is you can do is, in fact, just to give you some idea, tier 1, you can actually use catalog, right? Meaning that you want to go out and tell people that, these are all the products, come in and buy. Now, when it comes to tier 2, you can actually use reach, because you want to give them a voucher. You say that this voucher is only valid for 48 hours. So you want to do a retargeting for 48 hours and, run this as a voucher. So if you know how to do it later on, when you are ready, you can actually level up to do the advanced level. We are able to build multiple ads. So maybe immediately I give you voucher for 48 hours. Okay. And then after that, 2 days, on day 3 and onwards, I can show you another ad
and so on and so forth. You can actually build these kind of sequential ads. But I don't want to confuse you yet. When you're more ready, level up to the advanced level. We're going to open up this maybe once every 6 months. The advanced level, kind of like we call it the advanced advertising bootcamp. You can actually pay attention to that. We might change the name, but you will know. I will tell you that this is the advanced level kind of thing. All right. So yeah, you can actually combine reach as part of a combination of the objectives. It's very powerful because that helps you bang on the frequency, my friend. You know how to use that, right? So that's the thing. Okay. Then yeah, this is very general, and it's definitely something that you should consider. Use the first tier as lead gen. Second tier, use the messengers lead gen, because if they open up the lead form and do not submit lead for the first time, they're probably not interested in submitting lead that way. When you present them the other way, you might get them, you see. So open up your mind and start thinking differently. So that's the case, right? Now, the other one is, of course, you can use traffic if you're using lead gen. You drive people to your website, read an article. If they really read, then you can use lead gen to tell them that, hey, do you want to find out more? Do you want to get a coaching with me and stuff like that? There are different combinations that you can do. I just want you to have the idea. You want to open up and understand that they are actually so, the possibilities is quite endless if you ask me. Although now we are having only 11 objectives, or we might shrink it to even 6. But then again, when you understand the actions that you are going to bring by choosing the objective, you see things differently. It's a very powerful thing, if you ask me. Okay, so this is one. Remember, the whole idea here is you want to focus on one action at a time. It's really understanding about what matters to you. Remember, you want to go back to the action funnel and understand the whole journey. Generally, the action funnel is kind of similar. For e-commerce, it's like that. For lead gen, it's like that and stuff. But then again, there are different ways of doing things. That's why I want you to have the idea of understanding what matters to you. That's why which action matters to you now and next. That's something that you have to really look into now and next. So one step at a time, make it work for you. And remember, as I said at the very beginning, whatever that is working right now, keep it going. Even if your boost post is making you money, then keep it going. We only experiment the two-step funnel using a bit of a budget to experiment until we find a stable framework. Then only we switch things over. Remember, the two-step funnel framework, it requires a bit of practice to really master the whole thing. And so I want you to start looking at this thing in a more experimental way. The whole thing of running Facebook ads is really to get better results and to get more sales. Remember, as we actually discussed from the game plan, free training. So the whole idea here is you want to be very aware about the market change, the behavior shift and all this kind of thing, and you want to do the right thing. So you're going to stay on top of the thing. Remember, the reason why we come into this so-called academy, the Winning Facebook Ads Academy, is to really give you the right things to do. So I want to throw away all these different things that you don't need to concern about and focus on things that matters to you. And we do one thing at a time. We do right thing. And eventually we will see different results. Remember, you don't want to be a Facebook advertising strategist like me. You want to only make money by running ads. That's the whole idea. All right. So that's the module of the art of objective selection. And I will see you in the next module. Thank you.